All right, so it's time to actually do the work and send out the message with the automation software. So let's show you real quick how to run this process and how it kind of works. So we have our message set up in this campaign that we talked about in the last video. I'm going to send out this thanks for connecting message right now. So always important to note, whenever if you schedule out a couple months in advance, just keep a note on your calendar somewhere so you know what's coming up and what time frame. So since this is scheduled for today, let's go ahead and I'm going to log into the actual application. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, through this tab here, LinkedIn Messenger Resources, you're going to see your options for download. Now, we have two versions for Windows, whether your computer's a 32-bit or a 64-bit. Don't worry, if you don't know what that means, we have some information in the workbook to find out what type of computer yours is. Or if you have a Mac, there's this option for you. So once you get that downloaded and you open it up, it's going to be the same login that you have for this website as it is here in the application. So let me just input mine real quick. All right. And as it's logging us in here, you're going to see you have a calendar view here. You can skip ahead to any days you want, future or past. It's going to show you your message that you have due for whatever date you're on. So today I have this one, thanks for connecting, in the client. So for example, 1, links to an employee campaign. It'll show you how many are sent, how many are pending if you don't get all the way through, and you'll be all ready to go. So real quick, going to show you a couple things here. So let's get back into this client. And I'll show you a little trick. So the first time that you run the software, what it's going to do is it's going to find these people that are scheduled for a message, and it'll send the message to them, but it's also going to take a URL link that the software will store so that the next time it sends, it'll send quicker and quicker based on going back to that same URL. You also have the option of, if you manually have the direct messaging link, you can input it yourself. So I'll show you an example here. Let's take a couple. All right, so I'm going to click over here, and you see this is the messaging inbox screen for a specific contact, Allison. I'd copy that URL. I'd go find this contact in here, hit edit, add the link, and save it. Now again, the first time you run this to a connection for the first time they're getting a message, it'll do this automatically. However, if you ever ran into any problems, you always have the option of putting that URL in yourself. So I'm going to take another one from someone in this campaign, and this one is for Jamie on our team. Hit edit in green, and then I'm back in here taking that URL, copying it, pasting it into direct messaging link, and saving. So those two, they'll go straight to the page, and the software won't have to look up and find that person manually. So all right, so that's again, that'll happen the first time, but if you ever had any situation where you wanted to add someone, you definitely can. If there might be a situation where you have some of these links saved already, and you can just go in there and add it, and it'll move even quicker that first time through. So let's click on View, and we see here I have these 9 people scheduled for a message. It's going to show you the status here. Once it sends, this will change to sent, and all we have to do is hit Run Bot. All right, so it's ready to get going. You see here, it's going to show me again while it's running. It'll show me everyone here. It shows me their name, their company, and then it's going to show here if it's sent or if there was any sort of error. Really, the only errors that would show up is if it searches for the person, they can no longer find them because maybe they're no longer a first-rate connection with you, in which case you can go in and it'll tell you which ones had the errors. You can go in and either find that link manually to input it into the software, or if they're no longer a first-rate connection, you can unfortunately no longer message them. All right, so now it's running. It's going to log in here. It's going to look up each of the people. It'll find them, send out the message, input any of the, like their first name, so you can customize it, and it'll run through the sequence. And like I said, it'll also save that link. So every time you send a message to a connection, the next time it's going to move that much faster because it has, it's learned who the person is based on previous messages. So you can see how it'll run through here. You need to keep this open on your screen up. You can go and work on something else and have this run in the background, or if you have another computer, have it run on there, and then get back to your work and let it send out these messages. So you see Allison's one of the ones that we put that link in there. Go straight there. It's going to send out the message, and you're seeing sent right there. For these other people, it's going to have to look them up by name and then find this URL and input the message as is. But you can see here, hi Allison. It put in that custom name like we wanted, and everything looks good. So I know it's running on my end, and I can get back to my regular work. So that's the process of how you actually run this. The one thing I usually recommend to people, we talked about in the segmenting video a bit, is to not put a huge strain on. If you have 20,000 connections on LinkedIn, first of all, great. You have a huge network, which is fantastic, but I wouldn't put 20,000 people to get one message in the same day. Usually we recommend sticking to around 300 at most in a day. Now, you can go a little bit more than that, but to stay under the radar, I'd say staying around 300 at the maximum one day is where you'll be the safest. So if you need to set it up where you're sending out, you set up a campaign for each day for a week, it sends out, and then you'll be ready to go. So you see it's been sending out here. I'm going to let it run for a bit. I'll pause this, and then I'll come back at the end to show you what it looks like, how you can take all the information you're seeing show up here on the right-hand side and make sure you know what to do next. So as it finishes up here with its last message, I just wanted to hop on and say one thing. If you ever need to, if you for whatever reason you start sending out your message and you didn't double check before you sent it and you notice a typo, you can stop the process of the software by closing out of this window that it's working within, and that'll stop it from moving. I always recommend double checking, obviously, triple checking before you send it out, because you don't want to send them with a typo to a few hundred or even 1,000 or 2,000 people. But if ever there is a reason you need to stop it, just hit the X here and it'll shut it down where it currently is. So once it finishes, you'll see a note like this: message has finished, and we can go back to message details. So you see there's an error in one of these, and I chose this for a reason to show you how you react when you have an error like this. So on message details, an error, sometimes you can run it again and it'll find them. What I would recommend now is, if you ever have a situation where it couldn't find Matthew Kersey for whatever reason, I would open up LinkedIn and enter that URL directly, because again, it's going to be one of two things that happened. Either A, that person's no longer connected to you, in which case you might as well then, if you notice that, take them off the list to get message, because it's not going to find them or be able to send them that message. Or B, for some reason it wasn't able to find them in the regular search parameters, in which case you can simply, if you can look at that person manually, grab that URL link and put it in the software with the edit function that we showed earlier. You can run it again and it'll go straight to that messaging URL and send it out for you. So in this case, I always like to look it up. You look up that person, you'll see if they're first reconnection, then grab that link and you're ready to go. If it says second or third degree now, that means that they have removed you as a connection, and you'll just want to remove them from the campaign. So that is that's the process of the software, and that's the way it runs. If there's any questions, anything anyone needs help with, obviously feel free to reach out. And I recommend, the more you use it, the more comfortable you get with it. And again, it gets quicker each time, just because once it's sent out a message to Jamie before and it has this URL saved, it's going to go straight there and send it out.